Ever been asked a job interview question that made your stomach drop? You know the ones about your weaknesses, your failures, or the time you argued with your boss. Most people panic or lie, neither of which is a good response. But if you want the job, you need something smarter. In this video, I'll show you how to answer the 5 toughest interview questions honestly and still come off looking like a star. Before we get into the exact answers, there are 2 mistakes that people make all the time when answering these questions. If you do either of these, you're practically guaranteeing yourself a rejection. So let's start by going over them. Mistake number 1, don't answer with something that's really a positive. For example, if they ask about your greatest weakness, don't rely on something that's really a plus. Like, I take on so much work, I don't have a good work-life balance. Not only will the interviewer see that you're not answering the question they ask, they may also be insulted. Why? Because you think they are foolish enough to buy your answer, which of course was a non-answer. Don't do it. Mistake number 2. That being said, you don't have to be 100% honest and share something that is going to keep them from considering you. If they ask you why you're leaving your current position, and the real answer is your boss is sick and tired of your continual lateness and has told you better start looking for a new position, you probably don't want to share that. All the interviewer will hear is, this person is always late, and they'll think, I don't need this. So what should you say? Focus on something else, not focusing on what you learned, and most importantly, how you fixed the issue. You want to make it crystal clear to the interviewer that whatever the problem was, it will not be following you to the new job. They will not have to deal with it because 1, you recognized what the problem was, 2, you figured out how to fix it, and most importantly, 3, you fixed it and it is no longer an issue. Do not blame others for the issue. Take full responsibility for it yourself. And of course, take full responsibility for fixing it. Stick around as we show you how to answer these touchy questions in a way that doesn't leave you that coveted job offer. Let's start by tackling the one that everyone dreads, talking about a skill you don't have. Here's how to flip that into an advantage. Tricky interview question number 1. What is the professional skill you need to improve? Sample response. Now, it goes without saying, or at least I hope it does, that you should not focus on something that's critical to the main function of the job you're applying for. And since none of us learned how to craft AI prompts in school, and that seems to be the skill that everyone wants, it might not be a bad idea to focus on that. But assuming that's not the case, here is a response you can use. I'm pretty good at writing reports, but I've had little practice in presenting them, and I'd like to improve my public speaking skills. So I can give myself more confidence and make more effective presentations, I've decided to develop my skills and I've joined Toastmasters. This next one's brutal. Failure, missed deadlines, mistakes. Most people fumble here, but you won't if you use this strategy. Tricky interview question number 2. Tell me about a time you failed, or tell me about a time you missed a deadline or made a mistake at work. Just what you're dying to talk about, right? But you have no choice. Sample response. As an accounting manager, I was responsible for delegating tasks and managing year-end accruals with a tight deadline. My job was to ensure that the entire staff was effectively utilized and that the accruals were completed on time. I micromanaged the year-end accruals the first year I was manager, as it was my first time being responsible for that part of the year-end close. And this led to some confusion, and as a result, we were a few days late with the accruals. I recognize now that managing doesn't mean doing the complete task yourself, and I learned to trust my staff's abilities. I've delegated more efficiently and provide clearer instructions moving forward. Luckily, the management team gave me another chance, and the following year we had our accruals done on time. By the way, if you're finding this helpful, hit that like button. It lets us know that you like content like this and we should make more of it for you. Tricky doesn't even begin to cover the next place. Talking about workplace drama is risky unless you say it this way. Tricky interview question number 3. Tell me how you handled a difficult situation. Sample response. One of our vendors was extremely difficult to communicate with. They would not respond to emails or calls from our accounts payable staff. Yet the minute we were past due on an invoice, they'd call up demanding payment, threatening to put us on credit hold. As a manager, I, for a short period, took over the account and was persistent in my communication with their staff and made sure to follow up frequently to ensure that the vendor was responding to our requests for information so we could get them paid on time. Through this persistent and effective communication, I was able to establish a positive working relationship with that vendor. Tricky interview question number 4. Have you ever had a conflict with a coworker or a manager? If so, how did you handle it? Sample response. While you might be tempted to answer this with a simple no, don't, unless you're Mother Teresa. Unless you're Mother Teresa, the answer just isn't believable. But here's a better response. I've learned that disagreements and conflicts are part of work, whether I like it or not. Relations between the accounts payable department and the purchasing team were not good when I joined my current company. And before I knew it, I was falling into this ongoing battle. But after one particularly nasty argument with the purchasing manager, I had a thought. It doesn't have to be like this. So the next morning, I went into his office, apologized for my part of the argument, and asked if he would be willing to work with me to improve interactions between the two departments. He sat there and thought about it for a minute or two. And when he saw that I was serious, he agreed. Together, we've been able to make some changes in how information is shared between the two departments. And now I consider him a colleague, a trusted colleague. And most of the old animosity between the two groups is gone. And finally, the minefield. Tricky question number 5. Why did you leave your last job? Say the wrong thing here and you're toast. Sample response. If the truth, as is often the case, is that you either don't get along with your boss or you want more money, don't share that. Both are non-starters when it comes to getting that coveted job offer. If you were part of a publicized across-the-board staff reduction, you can share that, but do it in a positive way, casting blame on no one, despite what you might really feel. If that isn't the case, here's one way that you might approach it. You could say something like, I love my current job and my boss, but the company's structure as it is set up now just doesn't allow me to take on new responsibilities. The next logical step for me would be to be promoted into my boss's position, but she is not leaving anytime soon. Crafting answers to these questions is not an easy task. You want to provide just enough detail so the interviewer doesn't think you're hiding something, while simultaneously moving the conversation along onto another more pleasant part of the interview as quickly as possible. For this reason, you may want to use the STAR method when responding to these awful questions. You can learn how to do that effectively by clicking on the link that has appeared on your YouTube screen and is in the description. In this 10-minute fast-paced session, we'll show you how to craft your own short, information-packed responses. Good luck.